Hi, and welcome to the safety briefing for Great Aussie Hike Dandenong Ranges 2026. Great Aussie Hike acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging, especially the peoples of the Wurundjeri, Woiwurrung and other Kulin Nation people who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we will walk on. We would like to begin by thanking you for being part of the Great Aussie Hike program and challenge. Please remember that we are running an event in the Great Australian Bush and rely on many volunteers and volunteer services, so everything is subject to change. This is the 9th Great Aussie Hike Challenge that we've run and we have lots to get through. Therefore, in the interest of finishing up before midnight, we're going to keep things moving quickly. Anna is our fastest talker, so she's going to run through the bulk of the information. We will answer any additional questions at the end. I'll hand over to Anna now and let's begin.
Good evening, everyone. Let's begin with my favourite quote that sums up getting ready for the Great Aussie Hike. There's one piece of advice you take from tonight and everything else we've given you in the lead up, is that your success and experience throughout the challenge will be largely determined by your preparation. Make sure you have used the resources that have been provided, such as the online info sessions and the participant info guide. Take advantage of your access to Luke and I tonight and ask as many questions as you need to. It's also important to note before we get started that all distances are a really long way. There is definitely no thought from our side that some teams are only doing 20 kilometres. All distances require you to be outdoors in remote bushland for many hours. All distances equate to an endurance challenge. We take all distances seriously and we need you to as well. We'll be referring frequently tonight to your participant info guide. It's very important that you read through all the information provided as soon as possible if you haven't already done so. It is available to download in your training dashboard, and there's also been a link in all the emails we've been sending recently. We have a lot to get through tonight, so we won't be going through topics available in the online briefings already sent through to you. These are available to watch on YouTube and links are available in your participant info guide. So let's begin by having a chat about the challenge. Let's take a look at our stunning course. The course is divided into 5 sections with a wellness stop between each one, so there are plenty of opportunities to rest, reset and refuel along the way. Our 50-kilometre teams kick things off early from Lilydale Lake, walking along the beautiful rail trail as the sun rises, a perfect way to get some early kilometres on your legs. They'll then be the first out onto section 2 of the course, leaving Oasis Camp ahead of the 30-kilometre teams, followed by our 20-kilometre teams. This section has the hill for 30 and 20 kilometres and a warm-up hill climb for the 50s. After having a rest at Sylvan Reservoir, 50-kilometre teams take on the bigger climb heading up to Olinda. Meanwhile, our 30-kilometre teams continue exploring the Dandenong Ranges, enjoying stunning scenery on a more gradual, flatter trail. At this same spot, 20-kilometre teams will instead turn right as they leave Sylvan and head into their final section. From this point, they'll be leading the course, steadily making their way towards the finish line. Up in Olinda, the 50-kilometre teams will have a lunch break before heading back down the hill, now sitting behind the 30-kilometre teams on course. Finally, the 30s and 50s have one last stop before the last 10-kilometre push to the finish line. Let's do a quick run through of the logistics for the day. Everything I'm covering in the next couple of slides is directly out of your participant info guide, so there's nothing new. A quick but important note on parking. Because we're lucky enough to be walking through beautiful bushland, parking is naturally limited. More car parks would mean less of the environment we're all here to enjoy. We do put a lot of planning into making sure there is enough parking available for everyone, but this only works if you all follow our parking rules. These rules are in place to keep things fair for all teams and all distances, and also to ensure we're not impacting local residents, other park users, or nearby events. Please be respectful of those around you, follow all signage and directions from volunteers, and stick to the designated parking areas. Carpooling is compulsory for this event, and it makes a huge difference in helping us manage access for everyone. A little cooperation here goes a long way in protecting the experience for you, for others, and for the community that we're visiting. A reminder to 50-kilometre teams that there's no all-day parking available at the start line. All car parks will need to be used by park run participants as soon as we've headed out. You therefore have the three options that we've already sent through. Firstly, you already have booked a bus ticket and will be parking at the finish line and busing to the start line. Second option is you can park all day at Bellbird Park, which is approximately 500 metres from Lilydale Lake. You can then catch public transport post-event from Oasis Camp back to this location. Those buses run every hour. Or thirdly, you can have your support crew drop the team off. If your team plan is to drop most team members off at the start line and then one team member catch the bus back, please remember that the start line event site does not open till 5:15 a.m. You're going to need to be dropped off about 4:45 for your other team member to make the bus. For safety reasons, team members will need to wait away from where we were setting up, as there will be a flurry of lights, generators, inflatables, and safety checks happening before the site opens. You need to stay outside of this perimeter until it's safe to enter. It's also important to remember that you can't check in until all your team members have arrived for a team gear check. So again, please wait in another section of the park until you're reunited as a team. For our 20-kilometre and 30-kilometre teams, there is an enormous car park at Tesla Farm that anyone who has visited the Tulip Festival would be aware of. The lovely owners here are kindly allowing you to park here all day, but please be respectful of how you park, your behaviour, and being mindful that this is a private land. This is where all teams should be planning to drive to and then carpooling as a team to Discovery Church car park. Of course, you can carpool from your home. Coming into Discovery Church car park is strictly one vehicle for teams with 1 to 5 team members, 2 vehicles for teams with 6 to 10 members, and the 2 teams we have above 10 members can bring in 3 vehicles. There will be volunteers from the event charity Misfin at this site monitoring the carpooling. If you're not carpooling, you will be directed back to Tesla, and then this will mean that you might miss your start line. Do the right thing to avoid any drama, and also to be a good person and caring of the other teams needing a car spot. From Discovery, you'll walk to the start line at Oasis Camp. Please only cross Monbulk Road at the traffic management that we've set up. This is directly out the front of Oasis Camp, so stay on the other side of the road until this point. There is also the option to take public transport, which will continue to be free for the month of May. There is a bus stop directly in front of Oasis Camp, so this is a great option if you're wanting to avoid petrol costs and coordinating car parking. You don't need to arrive at Oasis Camp any earlier than 45 minutes before your allocated start time. It's not a large site, so arriving too early can create unnecessary congestion and make things less comfortable for everyone. By sticking to your allocated arrival window, you'll help us keep participants moving through smoothly and ensure everyone has a relaxed, stress-free start to their day. So now you've made it to the start line, let's run through what happens for all distances before you head out onto course. The first step is to complete the compulsory gear check. This can't be done until everyone from your team has arrived. We will be checking your individual items and your team items. After you pass the gear check, team packs with race bibs and buffs can be collected. Please make sure that everyone pops their race bib straight on the front of their clothing, not on your backpack. It's important that GAR crew and course marshals can identify on course at all times who is a member of the general public and who is a member of the Great Aussie Hike. Make sure you also take time to get a team photo. The details on the items you require for your compulsory gear check are available in your participant info guide and on our website. This is the list of items required by each individual team member. And these are the items that are required by the team, so only one team member needs to carry on course. In terms of weather-dependent compulsory gear, the forecasts are jumping each day and are quite different extremes. From what we're seeing, there will be a large rainfall sometime around those first couple of days of May. When this rainfall will hit the Dandenong Ranges does keep changing. Yesterday's forecast was for a sunny 18 to 20 degree day and a very wet Sunday. However, today's forecast sees that rain move into the Saturday afternoon and hitting our participants. We are watching very closely and will provide further updates via email on Saturday. What we're recommending at the moment, and please pass this on to your teammates, is to start preparing for rain. Most importantly, if you don't have a hooded waterproof jacket, start asking family and friends so you can borrow one. Even if it doesn't end up being a compulsory item, it's going to be good to have in your backpack with these current forecasts. If there are heavy rains and reflective stripes and emergency space blankets are added per person, these are simple items that you will be able to pick up next week, so don't stress just yet. We'll continue to plan for the worst, but remain positive that it will be wet on Sunday, May 3, while you're resting snugly on your couch. So you've parked, you through the start line procedures, and now you're out onto course. So let's run through what happens at the wellness stops. Firstly, it's important that you arrive at the wellness stop together and check in as a team. The wellness stop is where you can have a short rest. Please don't rest for too long or it's really hard for you to get going again. You really want to aim for about 15 to 20 minutes and definitely no longer than 30 minutes. At each wellness stop, you'll find things like water refill, toilets, first aid, stretching stations, and refreshments. It's also important to check out of the wellness stop as a team. In regards to wellness stop timings, you cannot arrive at sites before they are open. If you do, it means that you're running, and this is a big no-no. It is okay to combine some jogging with your walking, you just need to manage your average speed accordingly. Make sure that you are checking the times for your chosen distance in your participant info guide. These are the cutoff times that you need to stay in front of. 30km and 20km teams should pace themselves and not plan to hang out at wellness stops until they close. You should not be spending any longer than 30 minutes at any wellness stop. This is not the day to be sitting around for long periods, as it will make it extremely difficult to get to the finish line. We also need to give all teams an opportunity to use the facilities at each of the wellness stops and to keep that flow of traffic moving along the course that we established with our start line waves. Of particular note here is the 50km teams that we would recommend keep an eye on the clock for section 1 and wellness stop 1 so that you can get back out on course before the 30km teams start. To achieve this, you just need to keep a pace of 5km per hour or greater while walking section 1 and to take a break of only 15 to 20 minutes at wellness stop 1. If you have family and friends wanting to support you on the day, there are some great locations that they can connect with you. Firstly, please don't bring your support crew to cheer you off at the 20 and 30km start lines. As already mentioned, parking will be very tight and the site is going to be busy. 50km teams wanting to have their support crew to come and see them at wellness stop 1 at this same location can direct their support crew to park at Discovery Church for a short period. We need you to leave as soon as your team has departed onto course, because this means your car spot will open up for the 20km teams. Remember to tell your support crew that it is a bit of a distance between the two locations, so if they are carrying gear for you, they might want to bring along a beach buggy. Sylvan Reservoir is a fantastic location to direct your support crew and family to visit. There are 3 car parks that will be adequate for everyone. Olinda Community House has ample parking for 50km support crews, as this is the only distance visiting this wellness stop. For the finish line, parking will be difficult for the early 20km finishers, so please tell your family and friends to take this into account. As the 20km teams finish and depart, parking will open up at Discovery Church. Please ensure any family and friends visiting you at the finish line only park at Discovery Church. Under no circumstances can people be parking dangerously along Monbulk Road. Due to event day road closures in place, there will not be spots along the course that support crew can meet you. Sylvan Road will be completely closed to traffic for the day as a safety measure to keep you all safe. We've been very focused on getting started, so now let's turn our focus onto getting you to the finish line. Please remember that this is a challenge and not a race. It is not about a specific distance, but setting yourself a goal and challenging yourself to do something really hard. From our perspective, we want to see you at the finish line, walking under the arch, getting your medal and hugging your teammates. We therefore always add a few different course options for the best way your team can make it to the finish line, so that you can choose what is best for you, your team, and your circumstances on event day. You can read through these when the updated participant info guide is sent out tomorrow, but we'll also have GAR crew around the course to help you on the day. The last thing we need to chat about for Challenge Day is one of the most important, and it's the food along the course. I'd like to take this opportunity to give a huge shout out to the amazing crew from RRT. Anyone who has walked with us in recent years knows how awesome this organisation is and how much support they provide all teams. They do provide food and drink along the course for participants at no charge. However, they are involved to help raise as much money for MisFin as possible. They therefore ask everyone who lines up throughout the event to tap one of the MisFin payment points, bring along some cash, or make a self-donation via your own fundraising page. The bonus of self-donating via your fundraising page is that you'll also receive a tax-deductible receipt, and it's always a bonus with tax time coming up. Here's a list of what will be provided around the course so you can plan accordingly. RRT will be at Mount Evelyn or the Oasis Camp start-finish line site and the Sylvan Wellness Stop. At the 50-kilometre start line, we've invited the coffee van for parkrun to come in earlier, so hopefully they're happy to set an earlier alarm and get up. Given RRT are a volunteer organisation and not a restaurant, please be mindful of limitations they may have with dietary restrictions. They do have a few gluten-free rolls, a few vegetarian patties, some different milk options, but they are not able to cater for everything. Pack extra from home if you are concerned. So let's move on to the rules and safety now. It is important to have an awareness that we are heading into bushland. This means limited access, areas of no reception, and other hazards. If you have been involved with a walking event in the past, please think about how you need to do things differently for this particular environment and remoteness. Please read through all the challenge rules on our website, but most importantly remember, 1, you must have a minimum of 3 or 4 team members depending on your registered distance. 2, that we are advised of any team members who are withdrawing from the team, preferably by email prior to the challenge so it doesn't slow you down at the start line. It's important that we know who are the people walking on course. 3, you must remain within 100 metres of your teammates on course at all times. 4, you must maintain a minimum walking speed of 4 kilometres per hour. 5, you must arrive and depart each wellness stop together. So if you're 100 metres apart on course, please wait for your teammates before entering the wellness stop. 6, if you have an injured team member, someone must stay with them at all times while other team members go get help. And 7, your race bibs must be visible from the front at all times, not on your packs or on the jumper you've taken off. There will be members of the public on these trails during the day, so we need to know who's public and who's a registered participant. The most important thing to remember is that no one can ever be alone on the course at any time. We do have lots of marshals, traffic control and guard crew in the area, so we will find out. Please don't make us come and be bad cops on the day and disqualify your team, but we will be a bad cop if that's what we need to do to keep you safe. It's also important to remember that everywhere we walk is open to the public and they are entitled to use the tracks we are on. Please be respectful at all times. We also have a strict leave no trace policy. There's literally no excuses for littering, especially lolly wrappers. We know you're tired towards the end of the challenge, but we all need to put our best foot forward, literally. Moving on to safety considerations, it's important to understand what your unique number is as part of the challenge and what your team members' numbers are so that you can use it if an incident does occur. The first 3 numbers on your race bib will be your team number. The number after the dash is your team member number that is unique just to you. It is linked to all your medical information that you've previously supplied. You need to use these numbers when checking in and out from each wellness stop or communicating with the event control centre. We also can't stress enough how dangerous it is to change team members without telling us. If something was to happen, an ambulance or first aid will treat that person based on the medical information linked to the bib. The person is also not an official participant, so isn't covered by insurance. Please have a conversation with us instead of doing this. As part of your team's compulsory gear, at least 2 team members must have iFirst Aid app downloaded on your phone. This is an important tool to be able to tell our event control centre or emergency services your exact location. Simply click on the telephone in the top right-hand corner and it will give you the 3 words that will give your location. The app also has clear guides to help you start applying first aid to a team member while you're waiting for help. Digital course maps are a really important tool to help you stay safe on course, not get lost, or to help you navigate back to the right track. It is an individual compulsory gear item to have the Ride with GPS app on your phone that has a copy of your distance map downloaded for offline use. When you are setting this up, you will join an event to access the map. By using that specific link, your app will automatically turn into the pro version of Ride with GPS for May 2nd. This means your maps will still work when you don't have any reception. You don't need to sign up for a trial version or pay for a subscription. We pay the cost for you to have this access for the day, so please don't pay a second time. If you need any help with setup, check out the video in your training dashboard. Most importantly, remember to hit the navigate button when you're at the start line. Make sure to be using the offline version as this reduces the battery drain. Remember, your team also needs to have a battery pack as a compulsory gear item for backup too. Our course map on your phone is your primary tool and safest way to navigate your journey along the course. Consider course markings to be a bonus. They are a helpful addition to the map on your phone. Be aware that members of the public can change or remove signage, so it should never be the primary way that you determine your route. Instead, use them as confirmation you're reading your map correctly and going in the right direction. We do have lots of colourful stories about course markings being tampered with, and here's one example. This lovely local resident went to all the effort to make an arrow and colour it in the same colour as our arrows and stick it over the top in the hope they would send participants in a different and what was very dangerous direction. It is difficult for you guys to see based on this one because people were trying to pull off the old arrow while we were running out with a new arrow to make sure everyone was going in the right direction. But from a distance, if you were walking past, they did do an excellent job at sending people the wrong way. Finally, don't follow other participants as a way of navigating the course. Firstly, for this particular challenge, different distances are heading in different directions. If you're not concentrating, you might find yourself climbing the hill to Olinda unexpectedly. Also, 99.9% of teams who have gone off course at GAR events have done so because they're following the people in front of them. And sometimes these people aren't even part of the event, they're just members of the general public out for a walk. If there is an incident on course that is life-threatening and hence time critical, please don't take up time calling us. Ring 000 immediately. Another teammate can then call the event control centre and let us know so that we can start helping too. All emergency services are aware of our event, including ambulance. We also have first aid on course who the ambulance will directly liaise with. If it's not life-threatening, call the event control centre. All the information on this site is printed on the back of your race bib so that you will have it on your person if something happens and you need to refer to it quickly. Let's start the topic of evacuation by stating how incredibly rare it would be to need to evacuate everyone from course. So we don't want anyone to panic. A more likely scenario would be if there were some high winds and lightning appearing on the forecast. This would then stop each team as they arrive at a wellness stop from returning onto the course until the threat has passed. If we do have to evacuate, you will be notified via SMS to every team member's phone. We will also have GAR crew in vehicles, on bikes, and running along the course, notifying teams in areas of poor reception. The first thing is to stop, take a deep breath, and not panic. We are very conservative when it comes to your safety, and we will risk making a wrong call and evacuating too early rather than to leave it too late for you to have time to be safely collected. The next step after you receive that SMS message is to have a look at your Ride with GPS maps. Find the closest evacuation point from where you are standing. It will be marked with a bus or a transit symbol. Start walking towards this location. It might mean continuing along the course, or it might mean turning around and heading back from where you have come. Buses will make their way to each of these evacuation points. These buses will then return you to one of our event sites. It may be Sylvan, it may be Oasis Camp, or it may be directly to Discovery Church car park. It will just depend on the circumstances of the day. It's important to remember that you will be on course and in the different weather elements for a number of hours. This is an endurance challenge. It's therefore important to give some consideration to staying healthy as part of your preparation. Again, there are lots of resources available for you to use, so use them. But just to reiterate, please focus on hydration even when you don't feel thirsty. This includes pre-hydrating the night before. It's also important to have a blister prevention plan, especially if we are going to have rain on the day. Without doubt, this is the biggest issue we see for all distances and usually the result of not preparing properly, ignoring hotspots when they are small, and not having any tools in your pack to help you out along the course. It is a really great idea for each team to be carrying a pack of blister strips like Compeed so that you can actually stop along the course, pop one on, and avoid a problem from developing. Our wellness stops are designed to keep you well along your journey, so utilize them to stay healthy on course and use the equipment available at each site. Most importantly, attend to issues when they are small before they become a bigger problem. Last note we'd like to reiterate is the importance of communication within your team. If you haven't already started chatting and planning, now is the time. And finally, remember to enjoy your experience. Leave all the stress of safety and weather reports and traffic management and parking coordination up to us, and you go out there and have an amazing time with your mates. Make sure you have some interesting talking topics and funny jokes up your sleeve to keep the laughter amongst your team for those many hours on course together. Part of this is the mindset that you bring to the start line. Be caring towards your team members. Be thankful for the amazing volunteers along your journey. Be grateful for this beautiful piece of nature we get to explore, and be happy that you are lucky enough to be part of it. So let's run through your final checklist. Tomorrow we will release an updated participant info guide that includes the additional information we've covered tonight. Please make sure that you do pass on everything you've learnt tonight to your team members. The majority of questions that we'll receive in the coming days have been answered tonight, but are simply asked because teams aren't sharing and helping each other. It's also time for you to get excited. It's nearly here and you're going to have an amazing adventure with your teammates. We just ask one final thing to consider over the next week and throughout your time at the challenge. In a world where you can be anything, be kind.
When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm gonna send the blood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised, I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come.